For my love of video games, the best part I like to talk about a lot about video games is probably the coolest facts, Easter eggs, secrets you can probably find in video games. It's one of the most coolest parts about that I love about going into gaming, because it always gives you quite a story to talk about whenever you dive into the many secrets that are live beyond throughout our love of video games a lot. So I thought about doing something like this as part of my future for content, as I want to add a little more to do here on my YouTube channel, besides just guides and news videos and stuff like that, and just kind of give you guys a little something fun to do for like newcomers to the gaming community, or maybe those who just like talking about this kind of stuff. And with the announcement of Paper Mario TTYD coming to the Switch in 2024, that got me pretty excited to talk about some of the cool secrets that I remember looking about before throughout this game when it was back released on the GameCube. So I thought about, why don't I dive into this for video? So today I'm going to talk about just a couple facts, just have some fun, and talk about a few of these a little bit, and just get you guys excited and hyped for Paper Mario TTYD coming to the Switch. As always, if you do enjoy the video, guys, hit the like button, comment down below, and tell me what is the most coolest thing you've discovered or known about in Paper Mario TTYD or any of your favorite games. And let me know what game you guys want me to talk about definitely in the comment section below. And make sure to subscribe. Now, let's get into it, because in my first proper video of some cool, interesting gaming facts, I will be diving into my first episode of it, and we'll be doing some Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. If you go to Petalburg, you can find this nice little toad chap that is basically talk about all things about gaming. He's basically a gamer himself. If you visit him and talk to him at a few points during certain points of the game, he will actually mention a few quite references to actual gaming consoles and a few games he's been playing. If you talk with him for the first time, he'll talk about how he's been playing on his Game Boy Advance and been playing some RPG games, more specifically Fire Emblem, which is another popular franchise from Nintendo. If you talk to him again later on, he also talks about him been playing a lot of Nintendo 64 games, including reference to the first Paper Mario game, and he'll also mention the GameCube in question, and even mentioning playing the Paper Mario sequel, referencing Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, the game, of course, you're playing. Using tech, Princess Peach is able to communicate with Mario using email, and was able to send him any messages that she can to hopefully get him the help he needs in order to stop the X-Nauts. During these times when she sent a letter through the email out to Mario, this little song could be played. This small little tune is actually the Super Mario World theme song from that game back on the SNES. Chapter 3, Glitzville, or the Glitz Pit, one of the main champions of this that also has the Crystal Star you can get, is known as Rock Hawk. One interesting thing is that in the Spanish version of the game, his name is known as Hawk Hogan. If that doesn't sound familiar, this is actually kind of a reference to obviously WWE superstar and obviously wrestling legend Hulk Hogan. Lord Crumb is one of the bigger baddies of the X-Nauts, basically, your typical big baddie bunch in that group. One interesting though is that if you listen closely to his theme song, you can hear a small little sound that plays that sounds just like the death noise that plays when Pacman dies in the Atari version of Pacman. During one of the chapters where Peach has to turn invisible to get access to Grodus' computer, one of the start-up screens that pops on the computer is none other than the Nintendo Famicom starting system. Also, the disc you also put into it it looks just like the typical Nintendo Famicom game disc that's used a lot completely in one of those Famicom disc drives as well. If you end up going to the X-Dot Fortress, there's a brief moment where if you go into one of the ventilation systems and use your paper thin mode to go through the ventilation and right into a nearby, basically shower room, you can actually go right behind the blinds, and if you end up opening the blinds while inside the shower, turn you and the rest of your party into 8-bit versions of themselves while also playing the original Super Mario Bros. Theme song. It's a nice little fun little reference right into the classic 8-bit era of those days, which looks pretty cool though. I think it's pretty neat. Obviously, if you leave the room, it will be undone, although I would love to see this reference again in the, obviously, the Switch version of the game if they do decide to bring it back. Either way, this is a pretty cool Easter egg. I actually like this one. At some point in the game's development, there was plans for the original cast of partners that Mario met in the first Paper Mario game on the N64 were going to make an appearance. But unfortunately, they never got through that fruition, so it doesn't get finished in the final game. However, though, 2 characters that do actually make an appearance in the Paper Mario TTYD from the original Paper Mario game. One of which is that Para-Carry can actually be seen also during the introduction when he delivers, obviously, the letter. And finally, it's also Miss Bo, who can also be seen at Poshley Heights later on throughout beating the game. There are actually 2 instant game over screens that you can get in this game, and besides normal death sequences you can have. In one, which will be in Chapter 7 during the Poshley Express, if you actually help Ghost T get his diary, he warns you not to read it. If you choose to read it, he will come and kill you, and it's instant game over. The final one can be found at the end of the game, when encountering the Shadow Queen possessing Peach. She'll give you 2 choices, either choose to fight her, or choose to join her as her servant. If you choose to join her as her servant, you get an instant game over. If you played the first Paper Mario game, you probably know this little character right here, Junior Trooper. And he obviously fights in many battles and gets stronger over time. But however, though, Mario still succeeds in defeating him and obviously keeps going throughout his adventure at the time when trying to save Princess Peach and the Star Spirits. However, though, ever since Paper Mario on this N64, we do not see him again afterwards. However, though, there's a possibility that he might still be up to his no good again, due to the fact that you can still see him in Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. During at some point where you meet Zip Toad, he'll eventually later on send you a letter into your email. Checking out his letter, you'll find a picture of him on Poshley Express. But if you actually look closely at the picture, you might notice a familiar figure somewhere in the distance. You see it? Yep, that's Junior Trooper. He's still got his wings, his spike inside his egg, and he's still up to no good as usual. The question is, what's he up to, and why was he there? I guess we may never know. Who knows? Maybe the remaster on the Switch might answer that. Who knows? Ghost T, who you encounter in Chapter 7, is found in Room 4, which is where he apparently died. What's interesting, though, is that Room 4, or more specifically, the number 4, is actually a very unlucky number in Japanese and Chinese culture, which usually in Japanese and Chinese culture usually translates to she, which is what the number 4 represents in that language, which usually she also means in the form of death. Outside the Pianta Parlor, you can find this bomb that's selling these tickets for a lucky lottery. If you buy them, you can then determine and talk with them if you get any lucky and get the numbers, which will help you win some pretty good prizes if you're lucky enough. However, though, it's actually not about luck at all. Instead, it's actually based on the date when you bought the ticket, and you talk to them based on how long you've last gotten the ticket. There's like a certain amount of days you can go look about it. I don't know what the exact days are, but you can find them online, of course, if you ever decide to actually go and try this out yourself. But, however, though, it's a very long time, I believe, just to get to first place. However, though, if you think about maybe cheating and tampering with the clock system, you're out of luck. Because if you try to tamper with the internal clock system of the GameCube and go talk to him, he actually will be quite upset and will discover that something happened with the internal clock system and ask us if you tampered with it or not. You could choose to lie or tell the truth. Either way, if you decide to, in order to, of course, get back to the lottery and reset it back to 0 so you can start over, you need to pay him a fine of 500 coins. During the Keyhole Key chapter, Admiral Robbery sacrificed himself to keep his crew safe from any of the threats. When you go to save him, he asks for one final request before going to the Great Beyond. A Coca-Cola bottle. Coca-Cola is actually a known drink that is made in Bean Bean Kingdom, which you actually go and visit at Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Last but not least, I'll mention is that in Chapter 4 as well, if you go to one of the crows, you can actually hide using Vivian by them and hear some pretty funny quotes that are really hilarious in some ways. But one of the most unique ones is that one of them will mention that they wanted to maybe go and make a pay site, become a real estate agent of some sorts and make some real estate listings. One of them they wanted to call it was named Luigi's Mansion. Obviously, this is obviously a reference to none other than one of the GameCube titles as well, Luigi's Mansion. And with that, we come to the end of a couple of these facts about Paper Mario TTYD. There were tons of pretty funny, interesting facts that I mentioned during this. I know I didn't mention all of them. There are plenty that I could have missed or probably just didn't bother to at the moment. But obviously, if there's any more that I missed, you can feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And maybe someday I'll do a video on this again someday to talk about it. And who knows, maybe these secrets will appear again in the Switch version. Who knows? With that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know in the comment section below. Tell me what are your thoughts so far for all these different little Easter eggs and secrets and facts from the TTYD game. And maybe let me know what other games you want me to do. Definitely let me know. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm the host, Game Pizza Boy, host of the Pizza Party, and I will see you guys next time.